Hello and welcome, folks. Jessica here, your friendly neighborhood woodshop nerd. I guide newbie homeowners just like you on their path toward tool and home maintenance mastery. I take all the skills and techniques that I have learned over the course of a decade working in educational theater and show you how you can apply those same skills to update and maintain your home. So, without further ado, let's find out what we're going to be nerding out on today. All right, so you got a hole in your drywall. Maybe you were moving furniture. Maybe you lost a wrestling match with your doorknob. Or maybe your kids grabbed the towel rack with a little too much oomph. Whatever it was, it happened. And hey, it's okay, because today I'm gonna show you how to patch up this bad boy like it never even happened. But before we get started, do you want more tips on how to make your home repair dreams a reality? Hit subscribe and leave me a comment describing what other home repairs or DIY tips you would like me to teach you. All right, first things first, you're gonna need some supplies. Now, I'm going to use Gorilla products for this project. This includes joint compound, sandpaper, a patch, a putty knife, a power drill, and an Allen wrench, and a little bit of patience. Got it? Great, let's get patching. All right, so here's our battle wound.
As you can see, the screws were affixed only to the drywall and not to the studs behind. This made the towel rack vulnerable to repeated pulls over time, and it also damaged the paint as well. First, I pull out my treasure chest of Allen wrenches and find one that fits the fixture. Yeah, I kind of collect Allen wrenches whenever I can find one. I remove the rack. Then, with my Ryobi power drill, I remove the hardware from the drywall.
Before we start slathering things on, we've got to clean it up. You want to trim any of the ragged edges first, making sure that the hole is as smooth as possible. Otherwise, you're basically trying to patch up a porcupine. Your final product is going to look lumpy, and it's going to be very obvious that there was something there, but to begin with, not fun. Next, I'm going to use some sandpaper to smooth out the surface of the drywall. Then as each of the rough edges disappear, I'm going to switch out for a fine grit sandpaper to make sure that the surface is as smooth as possible before I apply any of the joint compound. Now, we're using a self-adhesive drywall patch right here. And if you've never seen one of these before, it's basically like a Band-Aid for your wall. You just peel it and stick it, boom, it's covered. Now the mesh is really great for the large hole in the drywall because it allows the joint compound to really adhere to something while building back the surface of the wall. Otherwise, the compound's simply gonna squeeze through the opening of the wall just like toothpaste, and nothing would get accomplished. But unlike a Band-Aid, it doesn't heal the wall on its own, not even by a little bit. This is simply the foundation. Now, as far as drywall damage is concerned, this one right here is not the worst of all of them. So my question for you is, what's the worst drywall damage that you've ever had to deal with, and how did you fix it? Leave your answer in the comments below. I'm really curious to see what you say. Now for the fun part, the joint compound, AKA drywall mud or spackle. Scoop a little bit out with your metal putty knife and spread it over the patch. Yes, I prefer to use metal putty knives myself. I think that it gives you a nice sharper finish, and that's exactly what you want anyway, right? So your goal is to cover the entire patch in a nice smooth layer. And remember, don't glob it on like peanut butter. Just smooth and steady wins the race. Now, best practices indicates that you use more of the compound in the center of the patch and then thin it out as you work your way out towards the outer edges of the patch. But remember, apply the compound to the surface area that is larger than the actual damage of the wall. This will ensure a smoother finish when you start to blend that final product. It is a lot like frosting a cake and just as satisfying, only it's way less tasty. Okay, here's where patience comes in. Let that joint compound dry completely, about 24 hours. And if you're too impulsive and you start to sand it before the compound dries, you're gonna clump up all of your progress and it's gonna ruin your project. Once it is totally dry, grab your sandpaper and lightly sand it down until you can no longer feel the edges on the outside of the compound. It should feel like one continuous surface. That's how you know you've done a good job. And if you can still feel a little bit of that edge with your fingertip, just lightly sand it down some more. However, don't over sand any drywall surface because remember, drywall is made up of paper and plaster and both can easily deteriorate with aggressive sanding. Yep, we're going in for round 2. Apply another thin layer of joint compound and let that dry, and then sand it one more time. Go thinner this time. This is all about blending it in with the original surface of the wall so that no one can tell that a hole was even there. Just remember, blend outward. Just blend, blend, blend.
Then you blend and blend and blend. Blending is the secret.
Almost there. Now once everything is smooth and dry, slap on a coat of primer, followed by a little paint to match your wall. And yes, do match the paint exactly, otherwise you're gonna have a new mystery spot on your wall. You're gonna have 2 different shades of the same paint. Now, because of the dirt and the damage on my particular wall, I'm gonna use this as an excuse to actually paint over the entire wall, but that's a video for another day. And just like that, no more eyesore, no more awkward explanations. So the next time your doorknob gets a little too friendly with your drywall or your kid decides to hang their entire body weight on the towel rack, you'll know exactly what to do. Think you can patch a hole better than I just showed you? Prove it. Hit that subscribe button and share your DIY triumphs and your tactics in the comments below. I'd love to know how you go about doing patchwork. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.